Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back and welcome to my demonstration and review of the Boss GT-8 guitar effects processor. I picked this up the other day on a trade deal. I actually traded off that big crate amp for this thing. Not quite sure yet if I'm going to keep this thing or not, but we'll see. In the meantime, I'm going to give you a bit of a demo, some of the sounds that are in this thing, and some of the features that I've learned just by pushing buttons. I've got the manual downloaded. You can download the manual for free to learn everything you possibly could want to know about this thing as far as what's in text. But to let you hear it, I've got it hooked up to my orange 35RT amplifier, which is on its own clean channel. I'm recording this on my camcorder because it's easier to give you a close-up look of the board this way. Although you might not be completely overly excited about the video audio quality, but you know, hey, we do what we can do to give you the nice close-up, and it gives you a general idea. Besides, no matter what kind of miking up system or whatever you do, it's still not going to sound the same even for you or even in person. It's just the way it goes. So wear headphones actually is a good advice if you want to get a better hearing of any video you watch on YouTube or anywhere for stuff like this. But anyways, let's start out with 1-1, bank 1, sound 1. It's called the high gain stack. But before we get into that, you've got 85 banks, okay? Each bank is comprised of 4 effects. So pedals 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now take 4 times that by 85. That gives you a whole nice rounded out number of what, 340 different patches that you can program any way you see fit within, of course, the limitations of the board and the built-in stuff. Okay, you can easily manipulate anything up in here on the fly. Getting into this area on the fly, a little bit different story, but we're going to get into that stuff. And do check out my video on how to do a factory reset on this board. Anyways, so starting up at the top far right, we have input. We have a level knob for adjusting preamp into your amplifier source. We have left and right stereo or left mono, which we're using left mono obviously. Headphone jack, 1/4" stereo. Effects loop, send and return. Amp control. Sub expression pedals, sub control 1 and 2. It's a combination thingy. Digital out, which is RCA. MIDI in and out, old school style hookups. Power switch, which is a physical push it to go on and push it again to take it off. AC power adapter in. You cannot run this thing with batteries because there is no way to do it. The expression pedal, of course, is for volume or wah usage. Switching your different banks here for up and down, or you can use the rotary dial and switch to a whole whack load of stuff at the same time. So let's get back to where we started out at. So this is what they call the high gain. Okay, let's just flick around the dial. T amp lead. Smooth drive. Blues lead. Fat stereo lead. Pro crunch wah, which you need the wah for. Blues drive. Deep stack lead. Now when you're in a bank area, you can use the pedals, Acoustic Guitar Simulator. Now let's say, for example, I want that in Bank 1, Pedal 1, because that's a really cool simulator. I like that. So we're going to go right, and we're going to turn that to number 1. And if I remember right, okay, that's 25-1. Right. Trying to remember how to shift this. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Ah. Didn't do what I wanted it to do. When in doubt, reset. All right. Alright, so 25-4. So I want to write this. Ah, there we go. 1-1. Right. So now it's in 1-1. So it took the place of the high gain amp now. Change anything about the characteristics of this thing, like the gain, level, patch level, bass, a little more treble. Okay, I like that. So I'm going to write that, and it's going to go there. So now, let's, this is called AutoCAD. That sound, and I wouldn't mind being able to flip between it and the other one. So I want to write this one, and I want to put that one in 1-2. So now AutoCAD is at number 1-2. So you can do stuff like that, okay? So you can rewrite a patch to any position you want it in, which is really nice, okay? And of course change characteristics before you even write it. Now what you do at home obviously is going to sound different than at the venue you're at, whether you're in the open doors outside on stage or in a church or some other building or whatever. Room acoustics always change. Outdoor acoustics are definitely going to be different. So you may have to make adjustments, which you can adjust on the fly. So if you're outdoors, but you like that just the way it is, but you want to bring your patch level up a bit, maybe add a little more presence, and even mess with the reverb a bit. Chorus effect, we want it stereo mode, and we want it on. Now Now I like that, so I'm going to just write it now so that it's there and it's locked in. This way, if I go off of this effect, I can go back and it's all going to be there. So you can do that with any of these stuff. This is called a jazz organ. There's some pretty cool tunes in here. This is called Not Forward. I don't know what that's supposed to be. It's kind of a weird one. Rising Wah. Octavius. I need a little bit more out of that. And that's about where I want it. And I like that. Just right everything where it is, levels and all. And I'm going to just rewrite it in the same spot, okay, and keep it there. But if I want to change it, okay, now it's already there. Now I can put this into the third one. This is the nice advantage of the rotary dial, okay, is not only can you use it to scroll through stuff as you're just checking stuff out, so you don't, if you don't want to keep, you know, booting the switch kind of deal, you can just use the dial, right? So now, number one is the simulator, and then we have the auto pad, and now we've got that Octavius. So doing the programming on this portion of the level and a little bit in here is actually pretty simple. Getting into the rest of this area, it's a bit of a learning curve, but you're going to have to learn it if you're going to own this board and learn how to use it, okay? There is no hooking this board up to a computer, right? There's no USB port, no serial ports, nothing, okay? You are on your own solely at full board level with this thing. So that is a big drawback to the board, I find, okay, is the fact that you cannot manipulate patches on the computer. I mean, the ME80, I have one, and I did have the GT-1000, and those boards can hook up and go via software. The GT-1000 is actually easier to program on the computer than it is to do it manually, but you can do manually if you need to, or tweak on stage if you need to manually, which is very simple to do. And the ME80, same deal. You can program everything on the computer into patch banks. Now you only get 18 total on the ME80 as opposed to this one's got, like, you know, hundreds. You do have quite a bit of effects on the ME80. This has, I wouldn't say it has more actual effects, but it has more ways of doing things in different ways. I haven't actually counted up the effects available for combinations and stuff between the two. I haven't dove that far into both boards yet. But I do find that without having a computer hookup, that is one very big thing about this board that's going to make it, for people who are not analog inclined, we'll say, a little harder for the learning curve. Okay, but those people who are pretty good at whipping their way around a board already will have an easier time with this thing. You're still going to have to read the manual either way in order to learn about the features and what they do. Like this variation thing here, you can change the variation of any amp. So if you hit this, you know, you can change that. Now that's on the R fire, but we can go to a high gain amp. Or we can take it right down to the JC clean, have a full range. Okay, now we like it there, so let's write it and leave it, okay? Now I can go here, and I've changed it, right, to crunch. But I do this and I go back again. it's going to use the JC Clean, even though my dial's in a different spot. Once you program a patch, it makes no difference where any of the dials are presently sitting at. You get what's in that patch. Okay, now you'll get that with any board. Okay, so there you go. It does have a built-in tuner function. So if you want to use the built-in tuner, it's a fairly accurate tuner. Now, it does take a lot of the patch away, like pretty much all of it really. It takes all the patch away, puts you in a lower mode, okay? But it doesn't cut you right off signal-wise. If you need to be cut off signal-wise, use a different tuner. Don't use the one that's built in, okay? So, this is pretty much about what I've learned about this board so far. It is a lot of fun. It does have, for the factory presets that are built in, there is a boatload. Now, this is Cosm technology as well. Okay, it's an older board. It's not the new flagship GT-1000 that has all the new processor stuff and WAS and all that in it. This is Cosm technology, but it's still really awesome stuff, you know, and it's been used for decades. So, you know, it is a really good board. These boards right now sell anywhere from $200 to close to $400 depending on condition, depending where you get them to, you know, Reverb or eBay or wherever. And, you know, you can get them even cheaper than $200 if they're in really crappy shape. This thing came to me just with a little bit of dirt on it from use. My wife cleaned it up and, you know, it's pretty much, you know, dirt-free now. So it's, you know, I'd give it like 99%, you know, to mint, you know what I mean? So the board hasn't been abused. It's been used, but it hasn't been abused, and everything works perfect on it, which is a big thing. There's no static in any of the pots anywhere. All the switches work. Everything functions as it should, and that's what you want. So when you go and you look at a board like this, especially a used one, you want to check everything out. Make sure everything is working fine. Hook it up to an amp, hook your guitar in, or have, you know, their guitar, and just give it a really good check over. Make sure that buttons all work, even though you're not gonna know what they're for. You got like this FX chain thing here, right? You want to make sure that it activates and does all the funky stuff it needs to do there. You know, you got your name. You can name your effects. Okay, so that's a feature that's actually in the GT-1000, is naming your effect to whatever name you want. That's actually kind of cool. Okay, and so on. So there's a lot of other things in here still to go through, still to learn. It does take time to learn and master anything, you know, especially new board technology and stuff. You have variations not only here up top on your preamp speaker section, but you also have the variation available here on your different effects as well. So you can do variations. First time I actually heard a variation actually on a pedal board on anything was actually the new Katana Mark II. Till I saw this board, of course, and it's like, oh, that's got variation. I mean, the Katana Mark II just came with variation. We didn't have that on our original Katanas. That's cool. So now we have variation on our effects, variations on our amp models. That's cool. I like that in the GT. Because, yeah, we don't have variation effect on the ME80. So, it's kind of like, this is a pretty good board. Overall, it is. But I'm still only going to give it 3 3/4 out of 5. Only because, A, it ain't perfect. B, there is going to be a learning curve because everything must be manually done. You have no computer access. Now, you can use this as a computer interface if you already have something like an iReg HD you can plug into, or another USB interface like a Focusrite or any other version, Behringer or Steinberg, any kind of USB box that has, you know, XLR and 1/4 inch inputs. you could then use this board and hook into there and then into your computer, as far as playing stuff in your computer, recording it into Pro Tools or whatever program you're going to use, GarageBand or what have you. You know, so you will be able to have that kind of computer access. You just won't be able to do any programming via the computer on this board. You have to do that all manually, and that's just the way it goes. So it's 100% manual analog. You know, some guys love that. You know, some guys really do. Some just kind of like, you know. But before you start, you know, messing with too many of the effects and changing them, go through them all and see what you think of them. Because there's like 300. What do we say? 170 times 2 is 340 different effects already there to monkey with, and you can move them into different spots. You know, so, which is nice. So you can already find some that are really awesome and then just move them to another spot. And like I showed you, you can also rename them as well to what you want. So if you want the acoustic guitar, you know, to be something else, of course we got to go back to number 1 here. So if you want the acoustic guitar simulator to be set up for, because you have chorus and reverb in there, oh, I want that set up for whatever name a song, name it for that. Make another acoustic simulator. Okay, take that patch, move it to the next spot, write it into the next spot, then go back in to number 2 now, which is the same, but then take out your reverb, take out your chorus, or take it, or add in delay and pull the chorus, or add a little bit of crunch into that acoustic simulator to give a little bit of a chunk to it, you know. And then resave that, you know, and that is simple and easy to do. You know, it's really not that hard, you know. So you just gotta fart around with the thing and you'll figure it out. Figuring out these areas in here, they're within the controls here. You're gonna have to, you know, read your manual a little bit to figure out how all that stuff works, and you know. But a lot of how I actually learned how to use boards is just by pushing buttons. I rarely ever open up a manual for anything. You know, just because I like to tinker with stuff as it is, and I can learn stuff pretty quick just on my own. But there are times I do actually have to open the manual, and this is a board where I'm thinking I'm going to have to open up the manual for a few things. But I'm getting around really good on it now, so that's the main thing. But I didn't want to sit here and spend a half an hour, 45 minutes with you going through a boatload of sounds and stuff. But it's just to give you a bit of an idea of stuff you can expect out of this. But we'll give you a couple more sounds, and then I think we'll be pretty good. I'm just going to turn this down a little bit. Cool sitar. And natural speed. Power stack drive. Let me turn that up a little bit. Let's go up here a bit. Smooth drive. So there is a lot. 60 Sunshine. $51.50 control and solo. So there is a lot to go through, tons actually. Guitars and stripes. Kind of weird. Rock Woman. I don't know where some of these names come from. High gain wah lead. Well, we're not using the wah. Tweed crunch. I could probably use some delay. But if you don't like it, you just move on to the next patch after you exit out and go on to something else. Anyways, guys, hopefully you enjoyed the video. Like I said, I don't want to spend a whack load of time here going through this thing. Not necessary. There are a lot of videos out there that will be long, lengthy videos for sure. But I just want to give you guys a basic rundown of this board and what I think of it. And, you know, I would say if this is something that's for you, then by all means, you know, if you can find one that's at a decent price, snag it by all means. I think it'll be a really good, worthwhile purchase. It's good to add it on in combination with another guitar processor if you have one. I find that, you know, pedals are something that I used to have tons of over the years, and you know, you got power supplies and, you know, the joiner cables, and anything can go wrong. And I honestly, I prefer these processor boards because there's a lot less stuff that can actually go wrong, and it's easier to track down if something does. And when you figure out the cost of one of these boards versus if you would have had to buy all the pedals in order to be able to create the same sounds, you know, never mind the amount of space it'll take up on stage, which is insane, you're better off buying one of these kind of things, you know, or the GT-1000 if you want, you know, the top of the line from Boss, you know, or some other board, you know, for you, those who like Line 6, you know, they got that stuff too. But I think, you know, in this day and age, more and more people are getting away from separate pedals. A lot of them are anyways, and going into boards like this. I prefer the boards. You know, they take up way less space. I have just as many effects in there that are just as good as having separate pedals anyhow. You know, and you can do so many different combinations just at your fingertips alone. And programming your patches, naming them to the name of a song so you remember, you know, hey, this is the song we're going to do next. Oh, okay, that's on, you know, bank this and patch number this, and boom. You're like click, click, boom there, you know. And so much simpler than trying to remember, oh, what pedal do I push for what, you know, or that kind of thing. You know, it's more to, I'd rather memorize songs than try to memorize songs and memorize all these different pedals and where they belong, what order they belong in, and all the other jazz. I'd rather just do this sort of thing and not have to memorize anything other than what I need to. You know, memorize my songs and just have a little fast cheat sheet for this, you know, for where things go. That's just me though. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video and you got a lot out of it. Do check my video too on how to do a factory restore on this thing to undo all that nasty stuff you did, especially if you make some boo-boos. If you subscribe, don't forget to hit that bell for notifications from my channel for when I put up new videos, and we shall see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Bye!